If you want to see how I set up, there is a video link here, but this is literally to just jump straight into the tattoo. So let's go. This is how I stick and poke myself.
For this tattoo, I'm using a 7-round needle, and needle sizes are essentially just clusters of needles. Just make sure your needle is the same thickness as your stencil. There are a few ways you can prep your needle, and you'll need to experiment to figure out which you prefer. Wrapping it onto a tongue depressor is my preference, but when I polled Instagram, the vast majority said they prefer just wrapping the needle, making it like a pen. It's really important that you use some kind of Vaseline. You should never tattoo unlubricated skin. I also use it to hold the ink pot in place, otherwise there'd be ink all over the shop. Having good ink is really important. I use dynamic black, but whatever you use, just make sure you shake it a lot before you use it. Top tip as well, don't squeeze the bottle, it should just drip out, and screw it back down with kitchen roll to stop it going everywhere. You also want to have some kitchen roll torn and accessible, some green soap wrapped and good to go. If you haven't got one of these bottles, don't worry, you can just put it into a glass or some kind of desterilized thing. Keep your working area tidy and you're ready to go. So I'm patting it down just to make sure the stencil is dry and then applying some Vaseline, moisturizing the skin, ready for tattooing. I also like to keep some kitchen roll in my other hand. A couple of dips of ink and just make sure it has covered the needle entirely and we're ready to start. When you make the first poke, just take your time with it. Don't rush, especially at the beginning. Remember the 3 P's of poking: patience, precision, and practice, especially while you build your rhythm and confidence as you progress through the tattoo. Always stretch the skin and try to do this in the direction you're moving. Keep the needle at a 45-degree angle and try to keep each poke close together. Don't poke too hard, but also not too soft either. I know that's confusing, but you're aiming for around 1 to 2 millimeters deep, and you should hear the popping of the skin. You're trying to hit that dermis layer, which is the middle layer of your skin. Your skin has 3 layers. But again, I know that's confusing. So honestly, for me, the way I do it is just not too hard, but not too soft. I would probably start by undershooting the depth of your pokes and doing more passes. A pass is basically just how many times you go around the tattoo. So this is the first pass, for example. Just do this because if you go too deep, you risk a blowout, which is when you've gone too deep and the ink starts like splooging out. And again, you can just go softer the first time and just do it like a number of times going around. During this first round, I try to avoid wiping so the stencil stays intact. This is another reason why we use Vaseline, because it keeps the ink in place. If there is excess ink or splatters, I just dab instead of wipe on this first round. As you progress through the tattoo, into the second round or third round, you can kind of wipe whenever you like, but you've got to protect that stencil in this first round. Keep an eye on your needle as well, because you can get a buildup of ink, skin, and Vaseline. So when you see clumps, just wipe it clean. When doing corners or sharper edges, take a bit more time and care, as it's easy to mess this up. And when you finish the first round, just lay down a bit of kitchen roll and spray on some of your green soap, and then just lightly wipe and clear the area. You can do this as many times as you like. Or if you haven't got a squeezy bottle, just dip the kitchen roll into the green soap and then wipe directly on the skin. So onto the second round. This is where you can go in and shore up the lines. You can tattoo sections and then wipe away as you go. So the first round has given the structure of the tattoo. We've wiped away the stencil and now we're punching those lines in. Some tattoos I do just require 1 round, depending on the desired effect. Some tattoos really do benefit from having like a dotty, broken up style. A style that I actually really like, and again, it just depends on yourself or the client and the tattoo and the desired effect. I can't stress enough here the importance of good equipment. When I started tattooing, I bought a cheap kit off Amazon, but as soon as I invested in better equipment, my tattoos instantly got way better. I couldn't actually find any good starter kits, so I decided to put my own one together. The link to purchase this is below. I've started by making just 24 of these, so if there is any demand for it, I'll know and I'll make more. So if they're sold out and you think you'd like one, you can register your interest on my website and I'll make more. For obvious reasons, it's much easier to tattoo someone else than it is to tattoo yourself. You can set yourself up and move around someone else, and I have no idea why I chose this part of my leg for this video, and you'll hear throughout the video the pain in my voice. So be prepared to be hunched over in weird positions if you're going to tattoo yourself all over. but probably best to start with your thighs. I actually started with my arm, which was dumb because I completely just didn't realize I wouldn't have the other hand. So it's very hard to stretch and tattoo at the same time. So I have some questionable tattoos on my arm, but that's okay, I love them. The stencil I'm using here is a sketch from my Flash. The things that I love are kind of imperfect, sketchy designs, and they really do lend themselves to stick and poke. You can get super detailed hand poke tattoos. Go check out Sad in Jail. But my style is simple, sketchy line work. So I've been tattooing for over 2 years now. I started where you are, just tattooing myself for fun and to save money, and found that I really loved it. I started the Instagram page, and then friends and family started asking for tattoos, which led to getting an actual random person inquiring. This might not be where you're looking to go with tattooing, and honestly it wasn't for me either. So when I got my first random inquiry through, I couldn't quite believe it. I only charged 30 quid, but it's honestly the best 30 quid I've made, because it was just confirmation of my time and effort. I actually wish I'd framed my first dollar, but never mind. Since then, I've done hundreds of tattoos, and whether just on myself or for other people, I'll be tattooing for the rest of my life. I love the process of it. I love sitting there with people. It's kind of like it becomes a therapy session for both people a lot of the time. And I've just met so many cool people, heard so many cool stories, and I've been able to just practice my art, which is really cool. So you may just be using stick and poke as a starting point to move on to the machine. Personally, I've decided just to stick to stick and poke. One of my big inspirations was European Sun. I actually went and spent the day with him, watching and learning him while I was starting out, and that was a big help. So hopefully I can pass that on and help a few people with this. And then obviously just make sure at the end you do put on some kind of wrap, whether it's cling film with tape or this is a bit of second skin, just to protect it. Aftercare, don't go in the sun, leave the protection on for as long as you possibly can, and then after, just try not to use any harsh soaps, wash with warm water and just keep it slightly moisturized. You can always Google the moisturizer, can I use this for tattooing? So yeah,
we did it.
Okay, so here it is, the finished product. Hopefully you got something from this video. I'd love to see your tattoos if you have started out, or if you've got any questions, please shoot or hit in the comments section. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, would love to hear from you. Okay, bye.